Hello world, it's John Pinto, your roving realtor, Bon Vivant, and I am here today with Nelson Staffing, Chris Allen, Divisional Director. Say hello, Chris.
Good afternoon, everybody.
Hi, we just did another video on jobs available for relocating baby boomers in the wine industry, which was very exciting, but everybody is not looking for a job in a winery. So let's start off talking about my personal situation. And I've been in real estate for 46 years. Now, I mean, there was a streak there where I was selling 200 houses a year, $100 million in volume a year, and I'm still doing it. But for me, it's all about pace and bandwidth. You know, being able to sustain my career, my first career, my second career, in a manner that accommodates the fact that I have other interests as a baby boomer.
Yeah.
You know, I definitely have to be more mindful of, you know, how much energy I have to expend, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
So let's talk about baby boomers who, again, may be in the South Bay, they may be on the peninsula, they may be in the East Bay, they may be freezing their tuchuses off in Boston, Washington, D.C., New York, New Jersey, Chicago, Columbus, Ohio, Milwaukee, wherever. And the idea of moving to a pleasant climate in an international hospitality destination like Napa County or Sonoma County might be attractive. So let's talk a little bit about non-winery jobs that might be available.
Sure. Whilst wine is probably the biggest industry here, is in fact the biggest industry here, there's lots of other business still all around what we do. There's a lot of industrial type jobs. You know, we make a lot of stuff out here. So anybody that has any kind of mechanical minded experience, work experience, whether it be, you know, some kind of handyman technician, you know, repair person, etc., all the way up to, and I think I've got the term right, plant managers who run, you know, a Coke factory kind of a thing, a giant machinery-based environment. We do everything in between here. There are some jobs that fit the different wine industries, like bottling, right, or canning or things like that, but they're all basically still mechanically minded jobs. So maintenance mechanics is probably what we would call that whole genre.
So maybe even construction people who know their way around a table saw and a hammer,
absolutely,
and a drill, but you know, are getting a little long in the tooth for being up on a roof or a ladder or doing that kind of heavy lifting.
Yeah.
But they have the wherewithal to be able to supervise a maintenance crew that's maintaining a winery or a fab.
Yes, absolutely. Or, good segues really, project manage those as well, and in all those ways, be different project managers. We have a project manager for kind of construction jobs, as you're saying. We have one right now that's for playgrounds, believe it or not, to build the different playgrounds that are around here. We also have a lot of lumber, so there's a lot of desk-based work around wood, around lumber, those kinds of jobs. Selling, so sales in any of these markets, if you're good at sales and you want to come up to our kind of climate and figure out how to sell the various things that we do around here, that's fine. We have lots of those jobs as well. We do all the other sort of higher level white collar roles as well, like accounting, legal. We have plenty of that. There's even, what do they call them, certified financial kind of planning jobs up here. Lots of office based kind of work, whatever role you might consider along those lines. HR. There's tons of every medium sort of size business needs an actual HR representative. The smaller ones would still be HR, but then maybe something else, right? So they'll still need those skills. Yeah, you name it, and we can cover almost any kind of role here that you would see in any other business as well, outside of just wine, for sure.
So thinking about my experience in Silicon Valley, you get a lot of people that have been working for the city, the county, school district, teachers, administrators, secretaries. They're not all software engineers. As a matter of fact, in the old days, they were all double E's. They were electrical engineers.
Yes, I remember that.
Yeah. So have you had those kinds of people coming up here and saying, here I am, this is my skill set, And what kind of case studies might you remember?
Absolutely, yeah. It's a really good point. I had forgot sort of civil and community-based works as well. We're trying to fill a CEO for a chamber right now, so actually that's a role that exists. Oh, there's only so many chambers of commerce, but they're in most towns.
But let's talk about that one.
Okay.
Let's talk. Okay, so when I'm in Silicon Valley
Yeah.
and I'm thinking of filling the role for the chief executive of the chamber, I'm thinking of the chief executive for the local multiple listing service with 16,000 subscribers, or a chief executive officer for 3 real estate boards that each have 6,000 members,
Yeah.
and maybe they have 10, 15, 20 staff. But you're talking about a Chamber of Commerce job
Yeah.
where there's 2 staff.
Yes, yes. It's far more about community and all the businesses around it. It's an interesting place, Napa, right? So we don't have the population, but we absolutely have sort of the, let's call it the asset value, right? Ultimately, you do have to come back to either the machinery or the warehouses or the wine. Office buildings and such, yes, they're worth so much, but the real value of so much of what we do is both the wine and all the sort of industries around it, whether it be labeling, whether it be cooperages, another example.
Oh, cooperages.
Absolutely. We've
More
got
construction.
more construction, really good with wood, building those amazing barrels, or just managing the barrels. There are businesses that do nothing but manage the barrels out to different clients. They ship them in, etc. So all of those different industries are what kind of bring that value to the area, and they're all pretty high value. So they want somebody who knows what they're doing and has experience with that stuff.
Yeah. So I'm sorry, I'm still fixated on this chief executive officer for the Chamber of Commerce.
Okay, yes.
And I'll tell you why. First of all, since it's a small operation, that means you're the chief cook and bottle washer.
Yes.
It's you
Yes.
and maybe an executive assistant and maybe one
Correct.
other person.
Correct. Yes.
So that means you're dealing with membership.
Yep.
You're dealing with legislative advocacy.
Absolutely. Yep.
That sounds like a sweet job for even somebody who is, say, working for a real estate board as a legislative advocate
Yeah.
and wants to start a different career path
Yeah.
towards being an executive officer.
Sure.
So now all of a sudden they take that legislative ability, transition to a chief executive officer, albeit in a small chamber of commerce.
Yeah.
But then you're an executive officer for a larger organization and you're really on the path. Are there a lot of building block jobs available in wine country since the entities are going to be a little bit smaller? Where you might be able to transition into bigger markets later on?
The chamber is an interesting one. This particular one's for the city of American Canyon, just south of Napa, right above Vallejo. It is a tinier community, but with a massive industry in terms of supporting wine. They like to say that they're the gateway to the wine country, but a lot of the wine making and storing and managing happens in American Canyon. So it's this smallish town community, but
Yeah,
with
they
a
have the
massive-
warehouses, right?
Absolutely, massive business. In fact, we're sitting here in one of the buildings, technically kind of near American Canyon, and so it is a great stepping stone. Yes, it's American Canyon. It's smaller. It's a lovely community. It's very, very community minded as well. If that's something that you're looking to do, is kind of maybe move out of the hectic nature of wherever you're at and move to a much smaller, very community focused organization. That's American Canyon, but they could very easily then move from that chamber, let's say, to your point, to potentially Napa, Sonoma, Fairfield. I don't know that any of those people are looking to leave anytime soon, but that's how that would work. Interestingly, you're also right about ultimately a chamber's a nonprofit. There are plenty of nonprofits up here as well, and all of them usually look for a form of a CEO or an executive director. So you could possibly go that route as well, which we've helped.
So
with.
nonprofits sometimes are your customers in terms of
Absolutely
putting
Yeah,
in
absolutely.
requisitions for.
Sure, for people. I have not had as many other than the chamber, people looking for the CEO level, but they have to get their executive directors somewhere, and so again, that would be something that we'd have no problem representing anybody, watching this video right now, if that's what they were interested in.
Are there much in the way of tech jobs in North Bay?
It's not Silicon Valley. You're right. Everybody has a little bit. I would say it'd be a role where you'd be doing more of a Swiss Army knife. You do a lot of other things as well as that potentially. The large wineries, absolutely, yes, they have that. It may be that they also have a large backlog of applicants because they're the ones where they have the big IT kind of departments, if you will. But I tend not to get tons and tons of those jobs. But we do have our own branch, Nelson Technology in the Bay, that handles loads of those positions. So if people need more help finding even where they're at something different, Nelson could help them with that too.
Well, I'm thinking with the evolution of zero carbon footprint, smart buildings, et cetera, you know, some of these wineries are fairly massive operations and they're using a lot of energy. So I'm thinking that someone with a good IT skill set who knows how to integrate all the components of a smart building would be something that would be in need in this area. But you don't have too many calls for that?
I don't have too many calls right now. What I would say is close to that is that a lot of the new stuff that's going on in the industries up here is absolutely technological related. I've seen some of the neatest kind of all installed bottling lines here. Apparently some of the best around. The different warehousing technologies going on. Yes, within the cooperages or some of the warehousing of the different barrels, there's interesting technology. So there is technology being introduced all over the place. And so if somebody was looking to maybe have that be a tangential or almost pivot from something that they're into right now and how to help us here do more and better and stronger kind of stuff that we're doing, they're open to that. It's absolutely happening. So far from what I can tell, they're usually importing them from wherever they know. So it could be something that we could very easily, though, market whatever candidate or person thinks that they want to know if their skills would work. We could market them out to some people and get feedback.
No, I think that's probably a real good idea. If somebody had a very specialized skill set that wasn't readily available in the North Bay and contacted you and said, look, this is what I'm bringing to the party.
Absolutely.
How many employers do you usually network with during a given year?
This is our 50th year in business.
You don't look a day over 51.
I'm not going to reply to that, John. I'm going to keep it right where it is. It's Nelson's 50th year, though.
Okay.
And so we do like to say, and everybody knows this for the most part, the best way and the easiest ways and the most likely way of finding your next role is through your network. It's through your referrals. It's through who knows who and what jobs are opening up. 50 years, we know almost all the businesses up here. We know almost all the people up here. So we're a really good network, and we see ourselves as that referral network for you. We're your network as well. So when you call us, absolutely. There are a lot of jobs and a lot of clients many times where we will do exactly that. We will take somebody, we will present them and say, you need to know this person, Bob, Maria, Susan, Paul, whoever I'm talking to. They don't have an order, but you need to know about this person. And the next thing you know, they've forwarded to somebody else or whatever, or they keep them for themselves and go, you're right, I don't have headcount. I'm going to go get it for that person. Happens all the time. So a lot of jobs never hit the market, really.
Very good. So I'm going to imagine that probably the first step for someone thinking about making a transition to the North Bay would be either to call you, email you, go into your website. Yeah. You probably want to see their CV, right?
Sure, absolutely. I love a call first. Specifically, I like talking to people as we're doing here. I like to get to know people. So, yeah, they could call me on my mobile if they wanted, 707-400-9400. They can email me. That's apparently the #1 mean of communication for everybody these days. C. Allen, ALLEN, @nelsonstaffing.com. Or, yes, you could go to nelsonjobs.com. But as I say, sometimes these jobs come in or through the marketing of a particular candidate, there wasn't one there, and yet we then still fill a job for that person because their skills were not ignorable.
I would imagine that probably now's a good time of year to populate your desk with people's CVs because you're going to start getting a lot of requests for filling positions soon, right?
Yeah, in fact, you're right. We are right now getting the people who know how to plan and know how to see that the season is coming, the tourist season's coming, growth is coming. You know, we're still having another really great year economically in town, and so yeah, everybody's planning. A lot of the roles that I was talking about, we have open positions for right now. Now is a great time to even just start exploring.
Very good, very good. So I'll give Chris one more opportunity to let you know how to get a hold of him. Go ahead, Chris.
Mobile, 707-400-9400, or email callen, ALLEN, @nelsonstaffing.com.
Very good. And what's motivating me to do this is, of course, if you're in the South Bay, the East Bay, the Peninsula, San Francisco, Marin County, you're probably in some very highly appreciated real estate sitting on some huge equity. Perhaps you have a satisfactory retirement, perhaps you don't. And there certainly are ways of loosening up that equity in ways that you're not going to get hammered with massive tax liabilities. And if you decided that you wanted to move up to the North Bay, there are neighborhoods in the North Bay that are 1/3, 1/2 the price in the South Bay, so you could live a very fine life, augment your retirement with a nice wine country position, a second career. And if you're interested in buying, selling, or exchanging any real estate, you can give me a call at 408-829-4141, or you can email me at johnpinto@jvpinto.com. Thanks for watching. See you next time.